find him and close shut the jaws of Oblivion.
Welcome folks, I'm Livid. It's been almost 20 years since the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion released. Although I played its predecessor Morrowind and its successor Skyrim, I never played Oblivion. With the remaster's release, I saw it as a great opportunity to finally get back and see what I've been missing. And to make up for lost time, I wanted to get all the achievements on Steam. This is my experience going from a new player to 100% achievements. Let's close shut the jaws of Oblivion. As this will be my first time really playing this game in depth, this won't be a comparison video because I won't know what's changed. I'm just someone sharing my experiences and thoughts playing the game for the first time. In order to get 100% achievement completion on Steam, you must do all the faction, Shivering Isles, and main story missions. That is also how this video will be structured. Huge spoiler warning for most of the game. Oblivion takes place in Cyrodiil, one of several provinces on the continent of Tamriel, which is controlled by the mighty Empire. It's been 6 years since the events in Morrowind. You play as an unnamed character who's been in prison for an unknown crime. In this cell, you create a character with pretty robust options. There are 10 races to choose from with their own various traits and abilities. Argonian, Khajiit, Redguard, Nords, Bretons, Imperials, Orsimer, Bosmer, Altma, and Dumner. Then you choose a class that matches the skills you want your character to use. Or you can even make your own. I like having control, so I make my own class. Later, you also pick from birth signs, which gives you various buffs and sometimes debuffs. I played a few different characters for this video, but mainly a Breton with good defensive magic and restoration. As far as who you are and where you came from, that's the role-playing part of this role-playing game. I have a pretty bad personal plight when it comes to Bethesda games like this. The obsession with what province I came from in Tamriel, how did I make it here, who was I before this? Over the years of playing these games, I've gone back and restarted playthroughs several times just because I don't buy my own story that I conjured up in my head. Is anyone else like that? After creating your character, the Emperor emerges. The Emperor notices us and claims he's seen us before in his dreams.
You are the one from my dreams. Then the stars were right. And this is the day. Gods give me strength.
Uriel Septim VII, played by Patrick Stewart. Despite never playing this game, I still know a ton of details about it like this. I was really excited to hear his performance, and it's great. Sir Patrick makes me believe this is a wise emperor who is also aware of the coming calamities. The Emperor is escaping with his bodyguards, the Blades, because there has been an attack on the Imperial family. All 3 of the Emperor's legitimate sons have been killed. Your jail cell happens to be where the escape route is to discreetly escape the Imperial city. Due to the confusion, you can follow him and his guards out as they make their escape. This is where a tutorial area begins in the sewers and caverns of the Imperial city. You're taught everything about combat, your status bars like health, magicka, stamina, lockpicking, different weapon types like bows and swords, and even sneaking. You'll find items for healing, hammers for repairing your equipment. You even knock over a bunch of logs, which indicates that traps are a thing and that environments of dungeons aren't just there to look nice. This sewer sequence is a great way to introduce players to concepts. I've always been a show me, don't tell me type of guy, so this way of learning the game is right up my alley. It's here where you will get more of a sense of what you want to be actually doing in this game. Maybe you thought you wanted to use bows, but then you try it out and it doesn't feel right. You then remember casting a few spells and figure that's more your style. Luckily, by the time you finish the tutorial sequence and reach the end, there's one last opportunity to change pretty much everything about your character. During this tutorial sequence, the Emperor is assassinated by a mysterious group called the Mythic Dawn. Having seen you in his dreams, and being that he's a man that takes prophecy very seriously, he entrusts you with the Amulet of Kings. This amulet is absolutely critical for maintaining pretty much everything. The Empire, the fate of the world, it needs to go to someone of his family lineage, but since all the Emperor's legitimate sons have been killed, it needs to go to someone not so legitimate. You must find the hidden heir to the throne and give them the amulet. Eventually, you leave the sewers into the open expanse of Cyrodiil. It's beautiful. This remaster already looked great way back in character creation, but actually seeing the world made me pause to soak it in. I don't have a pulse on graphical rankings with modern video games as I play tons of old games, but hey, to me, this is incredible. This was like the first time I walked out of the vault in Fallout 3 back in 2008 to see the Capital Wasteland for the first time. Maybe we get a similar style remaster in 2026 for Fallout 3. Although that scene is a little dated, I think people who played the game back there know what I mean. And I got the same feeling when I started playing this game. From this moment, you can go anywhere and do anything you want. You can take the amulet to its next location to begin the main quest, or look at something far off in the distance and just go to it. I like to hold off on the main story personally, because the main stories of these games are always pretty epic. Oblivion is open-ended, meaning you can go back and play after you've finished the main story. But if you rush through it, it's like watching the final act of a movie in the first 30 minutes. What's the big climax from there? That's kind of how I feel. I like going off and doing what I want without the heavy burden of a story weighing on me. And when I've gotten my fill from the game, I'll return to the main story as a fitting end, which is also how this video will be structured. Soon after you leave the sewers, you'll likely level up or be close to it. You get 12 virtues to distribute in 3 different attributes. Then there are 21 skills broken into combat, magic, and stealth. Leveling up in skills just takes doing the task. If you want to improve with swords, you use swords. If you want to improve with destruction magic, you use destruction magic, and so on. I've always preferred this method opposed to gaining a bucket of points for a level up to be distributed in anything you want. Leveling up by doing a task makes sense. It's how you or I would improve at anything outside of a video game. You also see the progression in your skills over time. At first you can't harm that rat, but give it a couple levels and you'll be destroying them with one hit. There are perks in this game, but you aren't really selecting them. As you attain apprentice, journeyman, expert, and master ranks in these skills, new techniques and benefits will be granted to you. There is a wide-ranging amount of geographical diversity in the region. Vast expanses of forests and fields, eerie ruins and caves, southern swamps, the snowy mountaintops of the north bordering Skyrim, all of which can be explored. And it's filled with things trying to kill you. Bandits, imps, savage trolls, spooky ghosts, mighty minotaurs, and even incredibly dangerous mudcrabs, and much, much, much more. I love the diversity of enemies in this game. Combat in this game is pretty straightforward. For melee rolls, it's hack and slash or just hitting things with your fists. Magic users have tons of options with different spells, both offensive and defensive. It's pretty simple, but it does the job. You can exploit enemy timings and weaknesses. For example, you can bait certain enemy users to attack by getting just close enough for them to attempt a strike, but not close enough for them to land it when you back up, leaving them open for an attack. The enemies in this game are also hilariously relentless. Like, look at these mudcrabs. I ran by them on a horse 4 towns ago and noticed the combat music wasn't stopping. Yet there was nothing around me. Just 4 enemy dots on my compass. So I figured I'd just sit here and see if they actually showed up. I sat there for probably 2 minutes. Slowly, but surely, the relentless mudcrabs showed up. After collecting a bunch of goods and scars, you can visit cities to sell items, heal yourself, repair your armor, find quests, and much more. The largest city is the Imperial City itself. As soon as you leave the sewers, you're at its doorsteps. You'll probably spend much of the early game coming back to the market district of the city. This is where you can find various merchants and vendors specializing in pretty much everything you can think of. Weapons, magic, general goods, and inns to rest for the night. It's surreal for me to actually see and explore the city like this. I remember hearing about it in Morrowind and Skyrim. To actually be walking the streets of the Imperial City still brings a smile to my face when I'm playing. The Arcane University is here, along with the Imperial Palace itself. As you could imagine, there's a lot to do here in the Imperial capital, but the major attraction is the arena. The arena works probably like you think it would. It's gladiatorial matches in front of a live audience. You can bet on matches or become a fighter yourself. Owen is the Blade Master, in charge of the filthy pit dogs like me. He's a bit of a jerk, but he'll come around.
I don't know who you are, friend, but you've got about 10 seconds to tell me what you're doing in my bloodworks before I lop your arms off.
He trains combatants in the Bloodworks, which is a training facility under the arena. It's absolutely covered in blood everywhere. This is so damn cool. You must wear light or heavy raiment. It's the official getup of the arena to make sure everybody's on the same playing field. From there, the rules are simple. You have to wear your arraignment, but then you can use whatever the hell you want. weapons, bows, magic. I mainly use my magic spells for offense and timed blocks with my shield for defense. The walkout to my first match was insane. There is a literal river of blood pouring down the walkway, and the atmosphere is incredible.
Welcome to the arena.
I nervously stand at the gates looking out into the fighting pits as the announcer calls our names. I felt like Russell Crowe in Gladiator walking out to my first fight.
Hello, everybody. I'm Russell Crowe, and this is Fighting Around the World.
The crowd will react to each hit and burst into cheers when you win. As you defeat more and more combatants, you rise up the ranks and gaining more respect from Owen. But like the Dark Tournament in Yu Yu Hakusho, the committee starts playing tricks on me. They start sending out multiple combatants. But our boy Owen makes sure that we have backup. Who could it be? A mighty orc? A powerful high elf with destruction magic? No, an ally with much more power. Pork Chop! The fight was pretty intense and I nearly died. But Pork Chop fought valiantly and offered enough of a distraction to help me recuperate. I also cowardly hid behind a pillar to regain magicka to heal myself.
Why won't you die?
After a hard-fought battle, Pork Chop and I became the new arena champions. But there was one more challenger, the Grey Prince himself. In this match, there are no gimmicks. I can wear whatever the hell I want, and I can loot his body. And it's now that I can choose a fighting name. I mean, it's a little late for that, I think. It would have been cooler to have had one way back when we first started these matches. But I went with the Tamriel Terror.
The Tamriel Terror, huh? I like it. Yeah, that'll do nicely.
As I make my way to the final fight, I am at peace with whatever comes next. After another grueling fight, the Grey Prince is defeated. I have conquered the arena. The Tamriel Terror is the new arena grand champion.
Behold, your arena grand champion, the Tamriel Terror!
I love the arena questline. The atmosphere does not hold back on the whole gladiatorial inspiration. Even after you become grand champion, Isabel talks about weekly fighting shows against a menagerie of animals they've collected across Cyrodiil, so I could keep coming back and fighting if I wanted. There are 8 major cities outside of the Imperial City. Anvil is a city in the Gold Coast region and the far end of the southwestern part of Cyrodiil. The city is known for its prosperous harbor and Redguard influence with its local architecture in the style of nearby Hammerfell. Bravil is the dark grate of the sewer drain where foul and unappetizing debris collects. It is the poorest and dirtiest of Cyrodiil's towns, the oldest and shabbiest. The most plagued by criminals and drunkards and skooma eaters. This town is grey, grim, and depressing. The climate is damp and the atmosphere is foul. The architecture of the town is remarkable for its unequaled ugliness and disorder.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Bruma is far to the north, bordering Skyrim. It's a blend of Imperial and Nord culture, populated pretty evenly by both. Bruma is always cold and covered with snow. It is little wonder that Nords are such drunken heathen savages, for life is impossible in such a climate. Shadenhall has broad green parklands, graceful willows, and neatly groomed gardens with flowering shrubs. It looks prosperous with clean, well-trimmed houses and neat stonework ornaments with striking designs in glass, metal, and wood. It has many dark elves who emigrated from Morrowind since the last half-century. Coral is a city in the Great Forest region of northwestern Cyrodiil. It is a boulder-strewn area where large oak canopies shade its streets. Leyawiin is pinned between the uncivilized provinces of Elsewhere and Blackmarsh. Leyawiin is a mighty fortress with tall stone walls and strong garrisons. Leyawiin is a bright, cheerful, and prosperous town in the midst of the Blackwood swampy wilderness. There are trees and flowing shrubs everywhere, and peaceful plazas and ponds for quiet contemplation. Indeed, if it weren't for the raffish rabble of Argonian and Khajiit descent, Leyawiin would be a pleasant and safe place to visit. These are the words of Alessia Otis, not Livid. Skingrad is located in the heart of the Western Weld Highlands. It's famous for its wines, tomatoes, and cheeses. It's one of the cleanest and safest towns in all of Cyrodiil. Kvatch? We'll talk about that one later. Most side quests in the game are relatively simple in gameplay structure. You find NPCs, click on dialogue options for a quest, and it's usually going to a location and talking to or killing something. What Oblivion does though is have really interesting or funny scenarios in their side quests. For example, an early quest in the Fighters Guild is to deal with the rat problem in a local woman's basement. You may naturally assume there are rats infesting the basement and they must be vanquished. When you get to the woman's house to take care of her pest problem, you slowly realize that the rats aren't the problem. In fact, the rats are her pets. The problem is there's a fucking mountain lion in her basement. After taking care of the mountain lion, the quest extends into finding the source of these mountain lions and destroying them just outside the city. Only to find out, exterminating that random pride of mountain lions wasn't really the cause because there is yet another mountain lion in the basement. It turns out the neighbor has been intentionally coaxing mountain lions into the basement by sneaking meat near the house. All of this over neighborly squabbles. What could have been a really mundane quest about go here, kill those, extended into something entirely different. I think the rat problem quest is the best example I can give for how this design could take a relatively simple quest and make it funny, interesting, and most importantly, memorable. I don't think I'd remember hacking a bunch of rats in a basement. I will remember realizing the twist that the rats were the pets and a neighbor was trying to kill them with mountain lions. While roaming around Cyrodiil, you can fast travel to various locations. I have a love-hate with fast travel. Back in Morrowind, you could use public transportation on boats or flea-looking things. The benefit to no fast travel is immersion. You have to pack extra supplies and equipment because it was a perilous journey. You were out there alone. Traveling to remote areas to tomb raid or explore has an added sense of tension knowing that you're far from a town where you could offload the goods or repair your equipment. But at the same time, some very simple quests in Oblivion will ask you to go back and forth across the entire province just for the most minute things. You pick up a quest in the north and they want you to help a merchant get their money back all the way in the south part of the province. This is where I stopped caring about the immersion and I just want to warp to what's next. It's not always about traveling and exploring alone. There are several guilds and factions to join. The Fighters, Mages, and Thieves Guild, the Arena counts as a faction, and the Dark Brotherhood. The Fighters Guild is where you get some hair on your chest. You join them and accept contracts for missions all over the province. You can get advancement through completing more and more contracts. It was actually pretty annoying finding new contracts because there are several Fighters Guild locations that give 1 or 2 contracts. But you won't be high enough ranks for certain contracts, so you have to go find where the next available contract was for your current rank. Initially, this was simple because there would be at least one low-level quest at each guild hall. After a while, though, the quest marker will start disappearing, not telling you where to go next. Now, sometimes the NPC was kind enough to mention who wanted to see you next, but other times they wouldn't. So when the quest marker and the NPC wasn't telling you where to go, you'd have to travel to each guild hall wondering who had the next contract. Luckily, the unofficial Elder Scrolls Pages wiki had a great flowchart because that was getting ridiculous. The Fighters Guild's story revolves around the Blackwood Company, a rival contracting organization competing against the Fighters Guild. They play dirty and start bleeding the guild of valuable contracts. The true trade secret behind the Blackwood Company's success, though, is hist sap. It comes from hist trees usually found in Blackmarsh, home to the Argonians. And to non-Argonians, it's basically a psychedelic drug. The final mission sees you infiltrate the Blackwood Company to destroy their secret hist operation. It's modeled after a drug lab and even has 2 Argonian cooks hard at work making that nasty sauce. I destroy the hist tree and along with it, the Blackwood Company. After this, I'm named Master of the Fighters Guild and I'm given this sweet helmet.
I am hereby naming you Master of the Fighters Guild, effective immediately.
There are several Mages Guild halls strewn throughout Cyrodiil, and you need recommendations from all the guild halls to attend the Arcane University. My favorite mission was the Dream World. A mage is trapped in his own dream, unable to wake up. We're tasked with wearing the Dream World amulet and sleeping next to them so we can help convince them it's a dream and that they need to wake up. But if we die in the dream, you die for real. Has anyone ever seen Inception? That's basically what this mission is. In order to wake the mage from their dream, you have to complete tasks to restore the mage's composure. You fight some minotaurs, avoid traps, and swim through water on the edge of drowning to collect elements. It was so interesting for a side mission, and the puzzles really did test all sorts of different emotions, which was the goal. After getting all of the recommendations from the guild halls, you can finally join the Arcane University. It's an extensive complex with tons to do. Some of the most powerful mages in all of Tamriel reside here, and being that it's in the Imperial capital, the Empire can keep an eye on the mysterious mages. One of the first things you do in the Arcane University, once accepted, is to create your own staff.
Before you can begin work for the guild, every mage carries a staff. It is crafted and enchanted by the guild and is a symbol of status. You need such a staff.
You have to acquire the wood and decide which discipline of magic it's used in. This was really cool. What is a wizard without their staff? This is the same feeling I got when I played Knights of the Old Republic and built my first lightsaber. There is something to building a weapon for yourself that makes it truly feel like part of you. You can also repair the orrery, which gives you great powers. I mean, just look at this thing. It's beautiful. As you advance, people start referring to you by your rank, and that's pretty cool. Just a little touch of immersion that makes your hard work feel acknowledged. Many of the missions and discussions around the Arcane University also deal with the interesting subject of necromancy. There's a constant debate going on about its relevance and its recent outlawing by the Mages Guild. After a few quests, it's revealed that the Worm King has come to Cyrodiil and is terrorizing the mages. He even destroys the Mages Guild in Bruma. When you finally catch up to him in his lair, he's been up to no good. The Worm King tried to corrupt me into working for him, but I'm no traitor.
Perhaps you'll be as useful to me as Traven would.
I bring him down with fiery fury. Once I return to the university, I am named Archmage.
I've already sent word to all the local guild halls that you are now in charge. Congratulations, Archmage.
Overall, I like the progression of the Mages Guild quests. It did feel a little disjointed during the Mage Hall recommendation quests, but the funny thing is the NPCs themselves acknowledge this. They even apologize to you once you get to the Arcane University, saying the Mages Guild hasn't been them old selves. And I think it's implied in the story that the Worm King has been messing with the guild, so it makes sense. For the Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood, I made a new character. I know I could have done it with my Breton Paladin, but I didn't wanna. I like to roleplay and take skills that make sense for the organization I'm joining. So I made a sneaky little wood elf. To join the Thieves Guild, you need to learn about the Grey Fox, the famous leader of the guild. The main appeal to join the Thieves Guild is to get access to fences who will buy stolen goods from you when most merchants won't. They will also pay off your debts and crimes for half the price. Alright, that doesn't seem so bad. You can pay off a beggar and find out where to meet up with the guild. Joining the guild won't be as easy as asking like the other two guilds. I must win in a competition against 2 other recruits to steal a journal from a house. The wood elf I'm competing against is a cheater though. She immediately starts sprinting towards the house. I was fortunate enough to find a beggar that gave me the location of the person's house though.
Congratulations! You have returned with the diary. You have earned the right to join the Thieves Guild.
And now I'm in the Thieves Guild. They only have 3 rules. Never steal from a fellow member, never kill anybody on the job, and don't steal from the poor. When you're just starting out, you work for doyens. They are the hands and eyes of the guildmaster and offer commissions for things to steal. Even that very first mission made me like playing with the Thieves Guild. I had made a character that fit that role, and between that and how the Thieves Guild works, it totally changed my gameplay style. I was sneaking, lockpicking, pickpocketing, using small daggers and my bow. Utilizing the beggars was also a really immersive way to mix gameplay and atmosphere. They are how you get information, but it also made perfect sense. They don't have much to do all day other than hang out or observe and hear things. Then the guild mission structure does something amazing. It tells you to go off and steal from whoever and wherever you want in order to progress its missions. This is music to my ears. Player freedom to explore and do missions as I please is low-hanging fruit for me. I love stuff like this. As you fence more and more gold for the guild, they will offer more and more commissions. The Thieves Guild under the leadership of the Grey Fox is a Robin Hood style story. The members go out of their way to steal from the rich and give to the poor. One mission has you stealing gold and tax records to return it to the citizens of the port. Then there's a mission that really tests your street cred. I had to snitch on someone who was informing against the guild to the city guard.
I don't believe you, but I'll have to check it out anyway. If you are right, there will be hell to pay.
Being that I started out in the prison district, I knew this was questionable behavior, but I had to protect the Thieves Guild. The more missions you do for the guild, the more fencing options will open up to you. And then you get transferred to different doyens. It's like getting different home assignments in the FBI or something. It's shockingly organized. Over time, all my thieving had been recognized. The Grey Fox wants a personal meeting with little old me.
I see you got my message.
Capital! It's really him. The meeting could have gone better. He doesn't like when I ask about him.
I don't answer questions about myself, particularly when they come from a Shadowfoot.
Now that I'm working with the Grey Fox, things really pick up with the missions. He's working on a scheme and needs tons of tools for the big one, the heist of an era. He sends me on several missions collecting rare artifacts for the big heist. In these missions, you can also find little snippets of history on him and confront him about it.
Ah, it seems you have stumbled over a bit of history that few in the Thieves Guild ever discover. I am not the first Grey Fox. That master thief died sometime shortly after stealing the Grey Cow, and receiving Nocturnal's curse.
You learn that the cowl he wears is a type of curse, that once you don it, your name will be stricken from the records and from people's memories. Once you've collected all the tools the Grey Fox has been asking for, it's time for the big one.
Are you ready for one last great heist? This is the heist that will be written about and talked about for decades to come.
I'm ready, man. Anything you need.
We are going to steal one of the Elder Scrolls from the Imperial Palace.
Wait, you want to what? Stealing an actual Elder Scroll? This guy's crazy, but I've come too far and I need to see this out. So here's the situation. The Elder Scrolls are kept in the Imperial Palace behind a door that can't be breached. We have to find the old way. A way that's been an escape route for Imperial Emperors. Well, I do have experience with those kinds of passageways. The tools we've been collecting from previous missions will all be used for the heist. The boots of Spring Heel Jack allows me to jump at great heights and land like a cat no matter how far I fall. The Arrow of Extrication acts like a key that must be accurately shot from a bow to open an ancient passage. Alright, Grey Fox, it'll be tricky, but I think I'm the guy for the job. The Old Way is a gauntlet full of rats, ghosts, and undead. Eventually the sewers will give way to the more ancient alien portions of the Undercity, so you know we're getting somewhere. My Spring Heel boots come in handy to vault over obstacles. Then I fire my Arrow of Extrication to unlock a hidden passage into the Imperial Library. Oh god, I'm in the library. I'm so nervous, there's guards everywhere. I have to keep it together. Now the blind monks will bring us the scroll because they think we're someone else. Okay, I got the scroll, it's time to get out of here. I have to ascend to the very top of the tower and find a chimney to fall down from at a ridiculous height. Whew, it's over. I've completed the heist of an era by stealing an entire Elder Scroll. It's in the title of the game, so you know it's good. The Grey Fox is naturally pretty excited, but what does he want to do with the Elder Scroll?
You have the scroll. I can hardly believe it. The odds were clearly against you. Capital job. Capital.
He asks that I give a ring to the Countess of Anvil and await her reaction? What? Why? I don't get it.
This ring belonged to my husband. He's been missing for over 10 years.
By the power of the Elder Scrolls, I name Emmer Deraloth as the true thief of Nocturnal's cowl.
You're the Grey Fox?
Once I donned the cowl, no one in all of Tamriel could recognize me. With the cowl, I became the Grey Fox.
You mean you were unable to return?
Man, he did it for love. The Grey Fox used the Elder Scroll to circumvent the curse of the cow so he could return to his wife. But she would only take him back if he renounced his title as a Grey Fox. And who better to pass it on to than the guy who just got away with the heist of an era? Corvus gives me the Grey Cowl. It's pretty funny when you wear it because the authorities will treat you like you're the Grey Fox and immediately attack you. The Thieves Guild was by far my favorite guild in this game. That last heist was one to remember. I mean, come on, stealing an Elder Scroll? That's awesome. Then there is a mission structure allowing player freedom. It struck a balance between player freedom and scripted set-piece missions that were very enjoyable. I've been playing a lot. I think it's time for a nap. Whoa, what the hell?
You sleep rather soundly for a murderer.
After killing someone innocent, the Dark Brotherhood will visit you in your sleep. The Dark Brotherhood is a remorseless guild of cutthroat assassins that kill for money and pleasure. It's a cabal of serial killers, basically. Their unholy matron is the Night Mother, and you may not violate her tenets. Lucien is a speaker of the Dark Brotherhood. You follow his guidance to join and advance in the guild. Once you carry out your first killing for him, you can join and enter their Dark Brotherhood sanctuary. As soon as you join, you get the sweet armor too. Lighter than normal leather and dark as the void. Vincenti Valtieri will give out contracts for killings and says that there are even special bonuses for killing in a certain manner. For example, one of the first stipulation bonuses is having the wall-mounted animal head fall on the target to kill him. A more satisfying mission was to kill Valandreth, the scumbag talking smack back at the beginning of the game when you're in the cell.
Wait, I know you. You're the one. The day the Emperor was killed. They went through your cell. You lucky bastard.
As you climb the ranks in the Brotherhood, you really start to get to know everybody in the sanctuary. They help you with all sorts of things on your missions or give you little bits of lore. They start to become family. I don't know what I'd do without them.
You have been chosen to perform the ancient rite known as purification. Everyone inside the sanctuary must die.
I never liked anyone in the Sanctuary anyway. It's going to be satisfying killing everyone in there. The reason for all of this is there was apparently a spy in the guild and it must all be purged. Since this spy has been apparently operating for years, we're the only one Lucien can trust. Once the Sanctuary has been massacred, I will now take direct orders from Lucien and will receive orders from dead drops rather than meeting up in person. More importantly though, Lucien rewards me with the dark steed, Shadowmare. Holy hell is this thing badass! You know those horses that the Ringwraiths had in Lord of the Rings? This reminds me of those. It's also flagged as an essential character, so it cannot die. Shadowmare will be very important going forward because a lot of the contracts from here on out will be sent off in remote areas. As I start working with Lucien, I begin to understand that maybe he was the brains behind the operation. Between him and I, we accomplished so much, so many killings, and only 2 people. No sanctuary. We're so efficient we don't even have to meet up. It's great. With a mentor like Lucien, I feel confident that our operations will be great long into the future.
As you can see, we have dealt with the betrayer, Lucien Lachance. No longer will you serve as his puppet.
Like I've been telling you guys, Lucien only got in the way. I never agreed with any of his decision making. It takes more than 2 people to run an operation like this. We're back on the hunt to find the traitor within our ranks. After conducting a seance to reveal our Night Mother, the traitor is Matthew Bellamont.
You will all suffer for the pain you have caused me. I will destroy your Night Mother, and the Dark Brotherhood will fall.
He is quickly dispatched. The Night Mother is pleased with us. She makes me the new listener.
You are to be my new listener.
As listener, we are the new leader of the Dark Brotherhood. Arquin will begin recruiting new members to rebuild the Dark Brotherhood back at the Sanctuary. Over time, you rebuild the organization and will even get a cut of the profits from the people completing contracts under you. The Dark Brotherhood was sweet. Getting Shadowmare was a highlight for me because it looks badass and can't die. The missions themselves were fun and brutal, and the way that the mission structure works actually makes a lot of sense. It's chaotic and full of intrigue. Everybody's backstabbing each other. You never know who to trust. If you've played Bethesda games for long enough, you know they can be buggy. Some call it janky, others call it the Bethesda charm. These games were so expansive for their time, many figured this was bound to happen and excused it for a great time they were still having. As you explore more of Cyrodiil, you'll discover these charming details. The biggest one I kept noticing were items exploding onto the ground when you would walk into places. I have no idea why this happens or if it was in the original. Unfortunately, it does take me out of the experience for a split second. It's not experience ruining, but sometimes I'm walking into a tavern after a long battle ready to sell my loot, and a shopkeeper's goods burst onto the floor and they're like, "Welcome in." I did also experience crashes every 4 to 5 hours of gameplay. I mean, of course I don't love that, but the game autosaves so frequently that it wasn't really that big of a deal. There are more bugs and oddities in the game, but none of it was bad enough to sour my experience. When it comes to the deeper lore of Elder Scrolls games, you get what you give. If you want to learn more about the world, you'll be rewarded by understanding why things look and feel the way they are. There are newspapers and bulletins all over the world. You'll often hear about things in the world like Akatosh and Aedra. You'll wonder where those words are coming from, what their meanings are. That's where books come in. There are so many books in the game. They could teach you everything, from practical gameplay strategies about enemy weaknesses, learning about the beginning of the Empire itself, or maybe learning about the 9 Divines. Then there's my favorite book series, The Lusty Argonian Maid. Anyway, and the best thing about it is, you don't have to indulge in any of this. For me, it adds so much to the game that makes me feel rewarded for having learned its lore. When I see ruins off in the distance that look different than Imperial towns, I know that's because they were built by the Ayleids. I get to learn more about the settlements and why they look the way they do. Speaking of Ayleids, one of the biggest topics that will reward you for learning more about their worlds is the Ayleids. They are a progenitor race of elves called the Aldmer, which used to call Cyrodiil their home. That big, beautiful Imperial city with its white gold tower? Built by the Ayleids. Strewn all over the province are remnants of their past glory. Ancestral tombs filled with relics and wells emanating magicka to this day. The Ayleids used to be pretty tyrannical though, enslaving humans for their cruel rituals and labor. Eventually those humans rebelled with the help of Alessia and the Nords, toppling their empire. In the other Elder Scrolls games I've played, this ancient role is usually filled by the Dwemer, a race of dwarves that mysteriously disappeared, leaving their high-tech settlements to be explored and plundered. The Dwemer still have a slight presence in Oblivion, but I actually like learning about the Ayleids as a change-up to the similar concept, that you're playing and interacting with a lived-in world. This helps immerse you into the world because it's not all recency bias. There were whole civilizations in this world long before I started playing it. Uncovering their remnants shows how powerful they used to be. You will interact with this topic through parts of quests, but it's finding lore and talking to NPCs that give you those interesting details. Like for example, there were still alien leaders ruling over settlements even after the human rebellion. This was done to retain some stability for the new human empire in its fragile state. Level scaling in Oblivion is something I've long heard discussed. Depending on how it's implemented, it can be good or bad. The intent behind it is to keep the game challenging, although you're becoming stronger and stronger. The late game would become monotonous if everything was killed in one hit. There's also loot scaling from items found in chests. They'll also increase in rarity and power the stronger you become. In my own experience playing Remastered, it appeared that the scaling was done decently. I would more often see stronger enemy types spawning as time went on, rather than making the weak enemies completely invincible. Rats and wolves are seen early game, but they're gradually replaced by trolls and minotaurs. I will say the weaker level enemies do still get little boost to health as you get stronger. Around level 8, I was killing rats and mud crabs in one hit with my sword. But by level 15, those same lower level enemies took 3 to 4 hits. It was fine overall, it didn't completely take me out of the game. If it felt like rats and mud crabs hit as hard and could take hits like a troll, I would have been pissed, but it really didn't bother me that much. Before I beat the game, I wanted to do some of the DLCs from back in the day. The Knights of the Nine was the first one I did, and I really enjoyed it. After encountering the crazy prophet, you go on a holy quest recovering ancient holy artifacts. I'm not really religious myself, but I'm kind of a sucker for Crusader garb. The Knights of the Nine also has inspiration from Knights of the Round Table, and I like that stuff too. In order to prove your worthiness, you battle the spirits of the Nine, who have all been cursed for one reason or another. After you defeat them, you get to learn about their past and what caused them to fall off the holy path. After defeating them, I embark on a quest to retrieve all the holy relics, which have their own missions. You collect the 4 relics and return to the priory. This is where you find out about the last holy relic, a holy sword. Apparently it's been taken by a wraith and turned into evil. You go and confront the wraith, and after defeating him, you cleanse the sword and are given the blessing of Talos. With all of these holy relics and powers, we need to destroy Umaril. He is an alien sorcerer king who once ruled over Cyrodiil itself and lived in the White Gold Tower. I already spoke about how much I liked pre-human lore with Cyrodiil, so I'm sure you guessed that I love this concept for a villain. Umaril's spirit is not bound to his physical body. That's why we must destroy his physical being and chase his spirit into the next realm and kill that too. There was one issue for me though. During one of the Holy Relic recoveries, we were actually cursed, heavily affecting stamina and especially magicka. This made the confrontation with Umaril really tough. Umaril is a colossal enemy speaking in the alien tongue as he curses you. After his physical form is destroyed, you chase him into the spirit realm. It's the same fight over again, but what's cool about this is after you defeat his spirit, I looked down and noticed I'm fighting right above the White Gold Tower where he once ruled from. I thought this was a pretty cool place to resolve the final fight. I really enjoyed the Knights of the Nine. Through the years, I've heard a ton about the next DLC, the Shivering Isles, and only heard a little bit about Knights of the Nine. I actually made a random assumption that it would be one little mission quest or something. For me, it turned into a really satisfying story about classical style knights going on a holy pilgrimage, and getting to collect awesome new weapons and armor. The chance to fight Umaril, who was an ancient alien king, was awesome considering how much I learned about the alien civilization. A mysterious island has appeared in the Nibbin Bay. I figured I'd check it out before I continued on to the main story. Apparently, people keep coming out of this door suffering from madness.
I won't go back. You can't make me go back. I'll kill you all. You're all going to die.
Stay back.
So of course I go in. Inside I meet Haskell, who is a secretary to the Prince of Madness, Sheogorath.
I imagine you're here about the door.
The Prince of Madness seeks a mortal champion, and I think I'm that champion. I had absolutely no idea what to expect when I started this DLC. And wow, what an entrance. I am now in the Shivering Isles, a place I've heard about for a long time. When my friends used to speak about Oblivion, around the time the Shivering Isles came out, they couldn't stop talking about how great of a DLC it was, so I was really excited to finally play it. My immediate thoughts are how it reminds me of Morrowind with its strange fauna everywhere. I came across normal people and I wasn't really sure if they were real or not. They seem perfectly fine with everything that's going on around them. They even insist I watch a brutal battle with an almighty gatekeeper.
They should have listened to me. Whoa! Why isn't he dying? Keep fighting, men.
After they are killed, I meet a buddy named Jared and we team up to kill the gatekeeper ourselves in order to enter the Gates of Madness. They lead to 2 separate realms, each controlled by Sheogorath, Mania and Dementia. Wow, what a peaceful and tranquil... Oh my god! Everything in here scares me to death. Electra Nobles, Grommites, venomous Bollywogs. These are just the first things you'll encounter. Okay, well now I'm just terrified of this place. New Sheo is the capital of this mad world. Its theme is all about the dualities of the realms, Mania and Dementia. Inside the castle throne room is the god himself. He seems like a nice guy.
I'm so happy I could just tear out your intestines and strangle you with them.
I can't explain why, but I like how crazy he is. Sheogorath explains that he has chosen us to stop Jiggalag, the Daedric Prince of Order, from executing the Grey March, an event that befalls the Shivering Isles at the end of every era. The Mad Prince sends me across his mad world, preparing me to stop the Grey March. For a while, you don't see the Prince of Order, just his minions, which look sweet and have horrifying sound effects. After very extensive quests for the Mad Gods, I end up fighting in the Grey March. Jiggalag himself shows up in the final battle. Defeating him halts the cycle of the Grey March.
Enough! I am beaten.
And now I'm basically a god. I own the Shivering Isles, and you can come back here even after you finish. I really like the Shivering Isles. I now understand why it's beloved. The island itself is full of opposites due to the duality of Sheogorath's desires. The fauna reminds me of Merwin, which is admittedly low-hanging fruit for someone who loves that game. And the Shivering Isles doesn't feel like part of Cyrodiil, because it shouldn't. It feels like a totally different world, and therefore like an entirely different experience. That's a lot for a DLC to accomplish. Although I did like the Knights of the Nine and the pilgrimage it set me on, the Shivering Isles will likely stand out much more when I think about this game. Alright, back to the main story. If there does happen to be new players like me who don't want the main story spoiled, this is your chance to leave the video. The Amulet of Kings must go to Uriel Septim's illegitimate heir, Martin. Martin is voiced by Sean Bean.
I heard about how you helped the guard drive the Daedra back. Well done.
I mean, come on, I know we all love this guy, Boromir, Ned Stark, and he gives a great performance in Oblivion. I would also like to say that when Sean Bean and Patrick Stewart gave these performances back in 2006, that was a totally different time in video games. They weren't the first celebrity voice actors for video games, but it was still less common, and I think video games were still seen as nerdy and niche. I just want to appreciate that they both took their roles seriously in this game at the time and gave great performances. Martin himself is a priest, but a bit astonished and reluctant to be the new heir to the throne, as he had no idea.
Emperor Uriel Septim? You think the Emperor is my father? No, you must have the wrong man. I am a priest of Akatosh. My father was a farmer.
Martin is unfortunately in the middle of the siege of Kavach. Remember when I said we'd get back to that? Yeah. The forces of Oblivion are pouring out all over Cyrodiil, but right now Kavach is the unfortunate city taking the brunt of it. The forces of Oblivion are being unleashed through Oblivion Gates. Those forces consist of absolutely horrifying Daedric enemies. These Oblivion Gates scared the shit out of me the first time I saw one, but they are absolutely beautiful in the remaster though. I was genuinely mesmerized just staring at it. Entering one of these gates takes you into Oblivion itself. Oblivion is a hellscape. I mean, it literally looks like hell. It's full of Daedric minions, burning corpses. The plants are trying to kill you, and of course, liquid hot magma. And the reason you enter the Oblivion Gates is to shut them down. You do this by collecting the sigil stones inside. Oblivion Gates will start to pop up all over Cyrodiil. I looked it up. There are potentially 100 locations for Oblivion Gates in a playthrough. Although only 60 of these locations will be used in a single playthrough, that's still a ton. The Battle of Kavach itself is like Helm's Deep. Get ready for the Lord of the Rings references. Enemy forces are pouring in from everywhere as all the buildings are destroyed or burned. Once the battle is concluded though, I can collect Martin and take him to the Priory where the Amulet of Kings is stolen. That's not good. Now in order to keep Martin safe, I have to take him to the Sky Ruler Temple. This is where he will stay, awaiting coronation once I retrieve the Amulet of Kings again. It's here where the Blades offer to let you become a member of the Blades, but I declined. You can go around the temple picking up pretty cool items to look the part though. Once he is secured, the main quest is all about helping Martin ascend to the throne because the lack of a ruler to the throne is actually causing the dragonfires to dim, giving way to Oblivion. What the story does really well from here on out is make it feel like a political thriller. There are assassins and spies everywhere trying to stop you and the Blades. You travel throughout the Imperial City discovering the mysterious Mythic Dawn and how they're operating. It turns out the Mythic Dawn worship Mehrunes Dagon, a Daedric prince responsible for this whole mess with the Emperor dying and the coming of Oblivion. The unraveling of the Mythic Dawn's plans led me to the cultist den where they wanted me to sacrifice a living being.
Take up the dagger and offer Lord Dagon the sacrificial red drink as pledge of your own life's blood, which shall be his in the end.
And I could never, not after being a Holy Knight of the Nine. They didn't take too kindly to my refusal, and we had a minor disagreement. Back at the Sky Temple, Martin requests a Daedric artifact to aid in his plan to close Oblivion. These artifacts are very powerful because they're imbued with the Daedric god's favor. There are several Daedric places of worship all over Cyrodiil where these quests start. I don't know if it was just me, but I thought Daedra worship was illegal. Apparently it's not, it's just frowned upon. And this is how they repay the Empire for that freedom. To be fair to the other Daedra, it does appear that they act very independently of each other. Back in the Shivering Isles, two Daedric princes had been at war with each other for several eras. Martin also indicates he's got a little history with Daedric worship himself when he was in his youth. That's a fun little detail. I like it though, because it shows he's got layers in a history. He isn't perfect. One of these quests wanted me to kill a unicorn, but because unicorns aren't real, oh my god, there is a unicorn. I thought for sure this was some kind of twist. Once Martin retrieves the Daedric artifact, he'll also request the blood of a god. This mission sees you retrieving Tiber Septim's armor. Tiber Septim has many titles. Heir to the Sundering Kings, King of Earth and Sky, Dragon of the North, the Dragon Prince, the Most High, the Lord of Shining Hosts, Ysmir, General Talos, the Grey Wind, the Storm of Kine, is the most important god hero of mankind. In life, he was Emperor Tiber Septim, who conquered all of Tamriel and founded the Third Empire. I've mentioned a few times how surreal it is to be playing Oblivion since I played Morrowind and Skyrim so extensively. And this is yet another one of those moments. Much of the story in Skyrim deals with the discussions of Talos and if he should be worshipped as a god. Actually seeing his armor after hearing so much about the character was unforgettable. The armor is resting in the tomb of Raymond III, a descendant. I like this as a history fan because I immediately think about how the rulers after Alexander the Great had done a similar thing with his armor. They used it as artifacts of legitimacy and to encourage morale. Once the armor is claimed by Martin, there is one last ingredient he needs. A great Welkin stone. Not many remain, but Martin says that one can be found in the ancient Ayleid city of Miskarkand. It was once a capital of an Ayleid kingdom. I think you guys know by now I love Ayleid stuff, so I'm always happy to tomb raid their ruins. Well, it turns out Miskarkand was pretty typical of all the other Ayleid ruins. I'm not really sure what I was expecting. Martin said it was the capital of a former kingdom and even suggested it's very extensive, but I didn't really see it like that. It kind of just felt like all the other ones. After finding the stone, it's time to take it to Martin. When I get back, he's in that Tiber Septim armor and it looks so badass. While I've been gone, Martin has been cooking up a scheme. The Gambit is something that many aren't gonna like. Martin wants a Great Oblivion Gate to be opened at Bruma by the Mythic Dawn, just like what happened at Kavach. This way we can infiltrate it and get another great sigil stone. As the defense of Bruma begins, our would-be emperor gives a powerful speech. One that reminds me of another speech when all hope seemed lost.
Soldiers of Cyrodiil, the Empire will stand or fall by what we do here today. Will we let the Daedra do to Bruma what they did to Kavach? Will we let them burn our homes? Will we let them kill our families? No! We make our stand here, today, for the whole of Cyrodiil. Soldiers of Cyrodiil, do you stand with me?
Enemies pour out through the gates of Oblivion. The desperate fight is grueling and ferocious. And it was made more annoying that I had to restart it several times because stupid allied NPCs would get in my way. If I accidentally strike them, or God forbid kill them, everyone turns on me, and my beloved Crusader gear also turns off on me for committing a crime. Look, I love set-piece battles in Elder Scrolls. It does feel epic and badass, because most of the game is just you fighting against 2 or 3 enemies. There is just too much going on, and you're limited in strikes and spells because you're dancing around the clueless AI. Anyway, after a while, the Great Gate finally appears. It's time to go in and get that sigil stone. Once you get in, the first thing you see is a massive battering ram ready to shatter the walls of Bruma. It will march along a river of lava until the stone is retrieved. Other than the awesome battering ram, this great gate acts as any other Oblivion gate. You carve through enemies to reach the stone, and once you do, the great gate comes crumbling down. I mean, what a battle. The way the gate starts collapsing and the ram falls apart. I don't mean to be dramatic, but I love the defense of Bruma, and it's one of my favorite recent gaming memories. The Martin speech, hordes of Daedric enemies, the great gate. I love this sequence. Martin now has all the things he needs to open the portal to a place called Paradise. Paradise is a Daedric plane created by Mankar Camoran, leader of the Mythic Dawn. And Mankar Camoran is the one who has the Amulet of Kings that was stolen earlier. Paradise is, well, it's beautiful. It's even more bright and welcoming than Cyrodiil proper during the day. Come to find out, this place is anything other than a paradise. Mankar Camoran promised his followers this paradise if they served him until death, and that's what he gave them. But once reborn in paradise, they are met by constant attacks from the other typical Daedric monsters. If they die, they are reborn in paradise to do it all over again. This is a horrible fate. This is more messed up than what happened in the Shivering Isles. This is just awful. But I will say, if you're going to follow a crazy cult leader and sign off on all this stuff, I mean, you did sign up for it. Through the travels of paradise, Mankar Camoran is speaking to you telepathically.
How little you understand. You cannot stop Lord Dagon.
He claims Mehrunes Dagon is just taking back his birthright. That Tamriel itself was always a Daedric god's property. That he can't conquer what is already his. Although his followers signed up for it, they regret their decisions and actually want to help you overthrow Mankar Camoran.
Can you really do it? Can you bring this eternal nightmare to an end? Can you defeat Mankar Camoran?
I like this idea. I'm not going to mention specifics, but when people sacrifice themselves for ideals, I've always wondered to myself if there were an afterlife, if those people got what they wanted or expected. In Paradise, we get to see one take on that scenario that clearly the servants of Mankar Camoran regret their devotion. After traveling through the hellish grotto of Paradise, you finally confront Mankar Camoran.
Let us see who at last has proved the stronger. Old Tamriel still has a fight left in her.
As he starts dying, so does Paradise. With the amulet back, I can return to Tamriel. It's not over yet. Until the dragonfires are lit, Mehrunes Dagon and his hordes will still try to invade Tamriel. In order to light the dragonfires, Martin must be brought to the Imperial City for his ascension ceremony. But there is a major issue. Mehrunes Dagon knows that would mean the end of his ploy, so he strikes the Imperial City itself with everything he's got. Oblivion gates open up over the entire city and Daedric come pouring out. Martin must be taken to the Temple of the One, where he can light the dragonfires and close shut the jaws of Oblivion. But that's not easy. This sequence spawns more enemies than the Battle of Kvatch and the Defense of Bruma. And if Martin dies, you gotta load up a save. It was not easy. After all that grueling fighting and reloaded saves, unfortunately, we were too late.
We're too late. Mehrunes Dagon is here. Lighting the dragonfires will no longer save us. The barriers that protected us from Oblivion are gone.
Mehrunes Dagon is here. And holy hell, is he here? God damn! Alrighty, I wasn't expecting the offspring of Goro and Godzilla to show up. Martin says he has one last idea. We have to finish our journey to the Temple of the One. Alright, we made it. What's the plan, Martin? Let's go! Wait, what are you doing? Whoa, what's happening to him? Oh, shit! Yeah, burn his ass, Martin.
The amulet is shattered. Dagon is defeated. With the dragon's blood and the amulet of kings, we have sealed the gates of Oblivion forever. The last of the Septims passes now into history. I go gladly, for I know my sacrifice is not in vain. I take my place with my father and my father's fathers. The third age has ended, and a new age dawns. When the next Elder Scroll is written, you shall be its scribe. The shape of the future, the fate of the Empire. These things now belong to you.
Martin made the ultimate sacrifice for Tamriel. What an emperor he would have made. I am named champion of Cyrodiil and given this sweet-ass armor. Imperial dragon armor is supposedly only allowed to be worn by emperors. Well, I mean, I heard you guys need one, so maybe it could be me, I don't know. After getting the dragon armor, the Oblivion Crisis, and the main quest is over. I absolutely loved my time playing the Oblivion Remaster. I don't normally achievement hunt, but I had a great time doing it in Oblivion, and it wasn't a chore to do because you just have to play through the factions and main story. After such a long time hearing about the game from friends and within the series itself, it felt surreal and fulfilling. I love the lore of this world and how learning more about it rewards you with physically seeing places and people that you've learned about. Cyrodiil feels rich in content and atmosphere. I know we've all been waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6 and we haven't gotten anything technically new for the main series games since 2011. But in my specific case, this kind of was a new Elder Scrolls game since I never played the original. It was given a beautiful remaster that made me want to dive in immediately and push back other plans I had for videos on my channel. After I post this video, I'm probably going to play even more. Folks, that's all I've got for the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. This is my longest video to date, so thank you for making it to the end. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot and I really appreciate you. Let me know if you'd like more Elder Scrolls content or maybe even Fallout content. Thank you to my YouTube channel members, Quinn and our new member, Chris Redbeard. And to my patrons, Shio, Lyra, and NovaArc over on Patreon. You can join my Patreon for free to see what I'm up to next. But if you do want to support me on Patreon, it helps me my goal to do this for a long time. Thank you again for watching until the end. I'll see you in my next video.
Capital!